the Hethel factory, Lotus factory in Norfolk, and I've been looking around. This is an incredible silver. I've never seen it before in my life. Again, Lotus have taken what we believe is a colour and added that warmth and luxuriant feel to it. We later saw how these were bonded with a really clever robot who went around, hundreds of a millimetre perfect. So when we were walking around the new parts of the factory, so showed us the old part and then the new assembly units, good grief, what a difference, chalk and cheese. It's like moving from a Victorian age to a space age. What a difference. You can really see where some of this £100 million investment from the Chinese owners Geely have really taken place. Hi all, A from Which Bike here. I'm at the Hethel factory, Lotus factory in Norfolk, and I've been looking around. Some things I can't tell you about, some things I can, but here we have the clay model. I remember people were seeing this and saying, oh my god, it's so tinted, looks bloody epic. But of course it's not real at all. Wow. Had a fantastic day at Hethel, the Lotus headquarters in Norfolk, UK. It was wonderful, and the whole idea was to give Lotus senior management a really good grasp of how customers are feeling. So they invited 4 of us over 2 days to come in and have a good chat and present what we believe are the general thoughts across the communities, both on the forums and across Facebook and other social media channels. We were hosted by Matt Windle, the MD, Jeff Dowding, Commercial Director, and Scott Walker, the Head of UK Sales. I'd like to also say thank you to Charlotte, who was keeping us on schedule throughout the day, and Dries, a Belgian driver who has the most amazing job of testing the Emira in all different versions on the road and on the track at Hethel to really make the most out of the suspension, brakes and engine characteristics. Wow, lucky man. So I'll get more to that about the day as we go on. Myself and Tom, who's on the Emira forum, a little bit on Lotus Talk and the Lotus forums in the UK and Facebook, we both were given a fantastic, highly detailed tour by Scott Walker, the Head of UK Sales. That took, an hour and a quarter, stopping all the different areas on the Emira journey. So the first thing that happened was we saw where the engines are brought in by a supplier. So that's Toyota for the V6 or AMG for the inline 4 turbo. We could clearly see how this was handcrafted with and mated to the gearboxes and the supercharger in the case of the V6. The Toyota itself, of course, and the AMG are fantastically proven engines. They are robust, rock solid, and you hear very little in the way of problems with them. So it's a fantastic choice by Lotus to keep with the Toyota and to bring in the Lotus AMG unit from the A45S. The next thing we saw was the evolution of the engine and being mated to that part of the chassis, obviously the rear end chassis. So the chassis comes in really 3 parts, the front, middle and the back, and we later saw how these were bonded with a really clever robot who went around, hundreds of a millimetre perfect. So when we were walking around the new parts of the factory, so showed us the old part and then the new assembly units, good grief, what a difference, chalk and cheese. It's like moving from a Victorian age to a space age. What a difference. You can really see where some of this £100 million investment from the Chinese owners Geely have really taken place. You can see that they're putting this money into the best areas. That's getting experienced staff and getting the latest in tech tools that will deliver fantastic quality vehicles. I'll get on to more of that in a second. So as I was going around, I was thinking, good grief, they are paying huge attention to detail. They clearly want to get this 100% right. There's no quibble on this. There's 2 things I've got to think about. One, they want to get the car out, not of any repercussions, of course. And secondly, this is very much the springboard for a new Lotus brand and ethos, which they need to be really good because they've got the EV cars coming out in a couple of years, and that's going to take them through the decades. So it's really important to them they get it right, and that investment and what I've seen in a nutshell is going to deliver that. I'm absolutely convinced. So let's go into a few more details. Now the robot parts of it are really important because they've had the ability in this last year or a bit to get the very latest stuff in the market. So this is far in advance of what the competitors will be using. They'll be a little bit older. They don't replenish that every year. It's far too expensive, and they're kicking out huge numbers of cars. So they just can't do that as quickly and agilely as Lotus have done. And watching that bonding bit, and obviously it's setting, and it goes off to another place and comes back, and then it goes off, when its chassis and the body are bonded, at that point it goes into this 360 laser box which goes all around it and looks for the slightest discrepancy in the body panel and ancillary fitting areas. So if it's a millimetre out, they'll take it away and sort it out. And such is that due diligence, and the process has already been going on for a long time with these pre-production cars, that it's already down to a fine art, but it's there as a safety measure. And later, once they've done all the other parts, added all the other bits to the car, it then goes back. And as a final check, that everything they've done since then is still resulting in a 100% consistent car. I found that really staggering. And then seeing these huge, great robotic arms, like picking up the chassis and things like that, I thought, wow, you know, this is just amazing. So I've never really seen it before. The only other factories I've been to were Bentley and Morgan. So obviously I've never been to a kind of Porsche, Mercedes, BMW sort of assembly. I imagine it's just huge. Lotus is small enough to be agile and small enough to have that great personal attention to detail, but big enough to have economies of scale. And one thing we also noticed, what they've made some efficiencies in the process in recent times, which gives them the confidence actually they'll deliver that full UK allotment in that first year from June onwards to the end of it, which is great news for all of us, and also means that possible delays into Europe, Australasia, Asia and the Americas are far less likely to happen. You're going to get the cars when you expect them to. Of course, that's always subject to what is a very dodgy world, but I was genuinely left with the confidence that they are making every effort to get these cars out as they originally wanted to. So that's really good news. Fortunately, we weren't able to see any of the actual wheels, and even the pre-production cars that were fully painted in the first edition colours didn't have wheels on them. We did see the seats that will go in the car, but they're still pre-production seats, and they look really good. And the really good news is there's much better bolstering than you would have seen on pictures or when you sat in the Tour models. They actually are deeper, more sporty, and look really good, and they look similarly like the rest of the car of a super high quality. You really can't get over the feel that they're not only tried to match Porsche but to excel them, and that is something that Tom and I really picked up on as he went through all different areas of the development of the car, and none was clearer than when we saw, which is the whole front fascia unit. So it's got the holes where the infotainment screens are going to go, and you see the bit coming out for the steering wheel. But it had on all the leather, and it was one kind of unit, about, what was it, 6 foot wide and 2 foot deep, and it had the leather, the Napa leather, and the stitching on it, and good grief, we could see it, play with it, touch it. It was impeccable, and that really just shouts that they want to get this 100%. So again, as the tour went round, we kind of felt more and more emboldened that, my God, this car's going to be bloody epic. We already know it looks good. We already know it's going to sound good. We know it's going to handle well. And so it was really, the last concern might be the quality, which is, you know, understandable given Lotus's parts. And that is now just been blown out. This is a top quality car. So let's move on to the sexy bit, which is the colours. This is what everybody wants to know about on the forum. Obviously, we've seen, well, some of us have seen in the flesh the Seneca blue, and some of us have seen in the flesh the shadow grey. At first, people wondered why those colours were shown. Well, not so much the blue, that's fabulous. It's got a slight minus fleck in it, little sparkle, little metallic element which really lifts it. And it's a lovely shade of blue. People wanting more about why they showed the dark grey. But actually, the more you see that car, and as you see the finished car, don't forget even the ones we saw pre-production, it all starts to make sense. Now, this is further accentuated by the quality and depth of colour on the other colours. So I'll go through them one by one, because Tom and I actually saw them all in the flesh in different light conditions. Admittedly, the Magma Red was the one we saw most in direct daylight and shadow, so we had the most idea of the colour play on that. But we did see all the colours and more, which we'll get to. First off, let's talk about Hethel yellow. A very classy yellow. It's not a normal yellow like you see on the flat yellow Ferraris. It had a bit of orange tint to it. This gave it a real warmth and depth and lifted it above being just a yellow. This Hethel yellow obviously has that kind of slight mustard feel to it, but not enough to make it kind of mustard, but just to make it appear different. It really pops. Clearly it's the boldest colour in the range, and it's the one, if you want to be seen and someone to shout out, well, either Ferrari or Lotus, then yellow's clearly going to be that colour. And with the black pack and the black wheels, that yellow will just look amazing. Put my personal feelings on the black pack, I'll come to a bit later anyway. But yellow, yeah, it looks fantastic. If you've opted for that, you're going to be delighted. It's super bold, yet still luxuriant. Right, Magma Red. A lot of people moved to Magma Red when they saw some of the configurator colours, especially in the last configurator. We've got one coming up next week, starting from about Monday 24th. It's going to come out any time after that pretty quickly. The Magma Red in the flesh, wow. It's better than anything I've seen in any render or configurator. It's better than I'd even hoped for, and I'm obviously getting one of them. Now the colour travel's amazing. It has the most fleck on it. When you look close at it, not even that close, it seems to have the largest metallic element to it. And that really gives it a great travel of colour across all the different curves and across the light conditions. You really notice it in the rear haunch, and you most notice it in those slight V-shaped, boomerang-shaped cutouts for the air vents on the front bonnet. And this is the same with every colour we saw there. That little few inches depth and the way it curves in is incredible. It's already a fantastic design and I love it, but actually what it does, it makes it incredibly exciting to look at from a colour point of view, because you see some real depth of colour changes and the bonnet then shines out. And that play between the curve of the front fenders and then this scoop down and then the line and then the bonnet, wow. I mean, honestly, just wow in the flesh. And this Magma Red really pulled it off, I'd say, the most. I can definitely say it's not fire red, as even I mentioned on the forum. Yes, it's close, but the gold fleck in this Emira Magma Red changes it. It also seems that it goes a little bit brighter in the light conditions, but retains some of that nice, deep, rich burgundy. So again, in non-light conditions, it has this richness and warmth to it, which I now know that is the reason why Lotus didn't come out of these stunning deep colours, because they're obviously going to blow us all away when you see them in the flesh, because that's what they've gone for, quality and uniqueness. Oh, next up, Nimbus Grey, the other car that I've got on order. Now, grey, there's not a hint of grey. And we all believed it was going to be silver, but it's not a silver like Arctic silver or the typical silvers we see on other cars. This is an incredible silver. I've never seen it before in my life. Again, Lotus have taken what we believe is a colour and added that warmth and luxuriant feel to it. Now this one, I actually believe it's more a light bronzy silver. It's got elements of bronze, which is a very slight brown, which warms it up. And it takes it from being just silver to this incredible colour. Again, has a really good travel on the colour. And those who have ordered this silver or Nimbus Grey, believe me, you are going to be over the moon. It's very, very special. Next up, Dark Verdant. This was further down the line. As I walked towards it, it wasn't until I thought it was black. I put my hand up, I thought it was black. And as we got nearer, about 4 yards away, you could see that actually, no, it's not black. It's very dark green. Now, the clue is in the name, Dark Verdant. It is dark. There's no getting away from that. And it absorbs light more than the other colours. Because of that, there isn't quite the same kind of colour play across it in different conditions. Only in a direct sunlight, when we shine torches on it, the fleck came out and the metallic element came out, and then it really did pop nicely. I still think my original choice was get a green with yellow stripes, and if you put the yellow stripes on this, that car is going to look epic. I think out of all the colours, it's still the one that will look the classiest when in light conditions or under kind of garage forecourt lights. I imagine it's going to look spectacular. But generally speaking, yes, it is still dark, and you will have to accept that, but it's going to look great. All these cars are going to look great in whatever colour you ever thought about. It's just that sort of car. So as we were walking around, Tom and I saw many other Emiras in many other colours, non-first edition colours, and these are all test cars. These are all pre-production models. Everything we saw was a pre-production model. Every single one we saw is going to be destroyed. I mean, it's just, oh my God, it's so depressing. It's quite upsetting because they're fabulous, fabulous cars. And we saw cars with the 6-cylinder automatic in them. We saw cars with the i4 engines in them, and they were interesting. We saw white. I'll say that one first because that's the one that leaped out at me. And the Emira is going to look stunning in white. The black and white kind of pop effect is going to be the most effective of all, in my belief. White will surely come out in future editions of the car. And for me, when I saw the white one, I thought, wow, yeah. I think a lot of people would order white, actually. I think it's going to be awesome. Alas, it's not a first edition colour. We saw also one in black, which still looked great. Arctic silver, which is kind of a normal, straightforward silver, which still looked great. Then there was a dark blue, really dark blue. So not really dark, not like dirt verdant, but it was a dark blue. That looked amazing. And whilst we were in the kind of main lounging area, a couple of times an Emira went past, and it was basically what I'd call a Nardo grey, the Audi Nardo grey, or the crayon from Porsche, and it looked bloody brilliant. It looked really, really good. And again, that would take a lot of sales. It was a first edition colour, and I'd like to think they're going to bring it out as a later option. It actually was the paint used on the Ford, that kind of pastel grey kind of colour effect. But to the rest of us, we call it Nardo, and it looked really good. Okay, now to go on to the black pack. First of all, I'd say that originally when I spec my two Emiras, they both had black packs, except the green car. When I originally wanted it, I was looking at green with yellow, and I was going to put yellow stripes in it. That wasn't a black pack. I wanted to get as much of that lovely green as possible. As it got darker, I kind of changed my mind and went to Magma Red and Nimbus, and both of them were originally black pack and black wheels. It's contemporary. It's going to make the colour stand out. That's what I thought, and it just seemed the way to go. Now, on my final configuration that I sent to Lotus in that kind of second deposit, the black packs went off, and I retained the black wheels. I later have changed to silver, but I haven't told Lotus that. But actually, I'm happy to keep the black wheels because I'm not good at cleaning stuff, and also they still look really good. And that will take attention away. Black wheels and black calipers will take the attention away from the wheels, and people will concentrate on that fantastic curvy body and that beautiful Magma Red or Nimbus. So that's what I'm going to settle for. Now, we saw the black pack only once at about 5 meters, admittedly, on a shell as it came through. So it had kind of standard blue test colour with the black pack on it. Now, it might be it wasn't polished, it wasn't finished, it might even be the actual black that it's going to even be. But I just thought it wasn't quite right. Such is the quality of the paint on these cars. I wouldn't want to take that away with a black pack. Now, on top of that, reading people's comments on having people have had black roofs before in a kind of gloss or more matte black colour that's not metallic, then they're talking about stone chips, scratches, swirl marks being really easy to spot, and I don't want that. As I walk up to the car, you're going to see that roof a lot. It's a low car, so that, and seeing it in a flesh and wanting to really see as much of that beautiful colour on those cars makes me think the black pack isn't the way it goes. So my personal opinion. Now, if you really want to get the black pack, the car's still going to look amazing, but I definitely say to you, get that PPF'd to protect you from the swirling and the chips and the little scratches that are going to happen. Even when you put your hand on there with a ring or a watch, It's an area that's going to attract trouble. Make sure you PPF that. If you're going to PPF anything, I'd PPF that. But if you're going to PPF that, I'd also PPF the front as a minimum. I'm definitely going to PPF the whole car anyway. It's going to be so precious to me. So that's the way I'm going to go. Right, suspension. This is another major point of contention on the forums. We had Gavan going around talking about the suspension and how he went out in it, and he was on the sport suspension. He wants to get sport suspension, but generally speaking, there's a little bit of a lack of information, which Lotus are going to address, and they're going to give us more information so we can make an informed decision on that suspension choice. And we have to make that quite quickly because we're kind of a bit locked in. I'm not even sure, as I'm saying this, if we can change it. But certainly it will help those later down the line and new prospects coming to this new configurator. But there's two choices, as we know. There's sports and touring. Now, it became quite clear to me after the comments from Dries, the Belgian development driver who drives the car extensively on track and road, testing specifically acceleration, braking, brake fade, engine dynamicism, and the suspension setups. He knows it very intimately. He kind of agreed with us. We all came to the same conclusion that you go for touring if you really don't know which one to go for. It's kind of the safe option. It's going to suit the most people, the majority of people. It's perfect for those who use the car as a daily driver, because then comfort, you'd say, is just been more important. It's also still going to be capable on track, and even the sports suspension car is going to have an element of roll in it, which is what they build into Lotus. It's part of that feeling exactly what's going on with the car. So there's no reason not to get it, except for the fact sports ascension, which I'm going to get. It gives you a little bit more feel. You're going to feel it on the odd road bank and drain cover on certain roads, and maybe more tracking in the ruts on a road. But it's going to be perfect for those who have the car as a second or third car like myself, because then you're maximising that feel and fun opportunity where you get more, just slightly more immersive. But don't forget, we're talking, less. We're talking single figure percentage difference between the two. So don't sweat on it. Really don't sweat on it. But if you're going to do one or more track days a year, then I'd say it makes more sense to opt for the sports suspension if you're not also daily driving it. So in summary, daily driver, touring, not a daily driver, sports. It really is as simple as that. So that's about it really. It was a fabulous day to see the improvements that Lotus have made to the whole factory production, manufacturing aspect. Was incredible to see. And that is backed up by the passion of the staff and the passion of the three principals that we spoke to in Matt, Jeff and Scott. And not only that, the management ethos has completely changed. Rather than being admittedly slightly more dictatorial in the past, it's now very much collaboration. There's no blame game involved. Everybody has a voice. Everybody's expected to feed into that. People listen to. The management looking at things very dynamic, and they have weekly meetings on a Monday, looking at everything that's being brought up in every department by every person, and make sure they go through it and get anything sorted immediately. This kind of collaborative enterprise is what makes most businesses tick well. It's always going to get you the best results at the end of the day, and I feel truly assured by what I saw that we are all in very safe hands. And on that note, hopefully I'll leave you with a big smile on your face. If you've got a Lotus deposit, then yeah, hey, feel the excitement, feel the excitement. I cannot sleep. Didn't sleep last night after the factory visit, and that might continue for a while. So take care out there. I've got more motorcycle content coming soon, in case you're wondering. Don't panic. And more mirror content coming out later.